Hey guys, so welcome back. I'm hoping this is going to be a somewhat short video, but I just wanted to talk about this, which is the LP Husk that I bought, and I mentioned it in our 1-year celebration. I've had a little time to sit with this, and I want to go over some of it. We don't really have any of the parts yet, because that's part of what I'm going to be doing with this. So let me set this on the bench, and I'm going to put the camera on, and we're going to talk about what's going on with this. All right. I don't know if you guys can see too much, but there's a fair amount of rabbit hair on my guitar. That's the risk you run with pets. That's not what I was going to talk about, but we do have I did clean up the front of this a little bit and a little bit with the neck, and I'll explain why. What I wanted to do was just kind of see how much of this was just standard dust. And let me wipe this off a little bit just to make sure I'm getting all of this out of there. So I do have some questions and I want to measure some stuff. The other thing I did was I did condition the neck a little bit. I don't know if you can see too much. Let's go all the way up. So when I first got this, like I said, I bought it kind of sight unseen. It was from Guitar Fetish. And then when I got home, I bought it on my phone. When I got home, I looked at the pictures and saw what I thought were like pretty massive chips in parts of the fretboard. Well, guys, that ended up being masking tape, which presented two problems. One, I got it off of there and that was fine. So the board itself seems fine. The second part was this seems to have been taped up to be painted with whatever this paint job is, and then left to sit for God knows how long, because this was in Guitar Fetish's clearance section, which means they bought it from it was overstock or something from an outlet or something. I think that they bought it from some other place and then they sell it as is. This was as is, did not mention a twisted neck. Anyhow, I did condition the neck a little bit, so it's a little bit cleaner. There's still quite a bit of work to do on it, and I'm probably going to try and polish these frets with you guys tonight too as well, just to see. I don't know if you can see, there's a fair amount of gunk on those frets. I don't know if that shows up real well on the camera, and I'm trying to see if that's actual rust or just schmutz, and how much work is going to have to be put into those frets. Yeah, just clicking it with my nails, some of it came off, so I'm hopeful that these are going to polish up okay. The other issue, when it was left for so long, there's some areas of the neck where I can feel like a roughness where I think the tape was. It almost feels like a varnish on there, and I haven't really been able to scrape it off too much. I did take a little bit of spray weight just to generally clean off the neck, get the dust and gunk off of it, and then did scrape a little bit with a razor blade. There was some like tape schmutz on the edges, but the good news is I don't see any major chips there. My question for all of you, and there's going to be a lot of questions, and that's just so you know, this guy's got notes. Number one, I want to write down all the measurements I'm taking. Number two, I just want to shout out a few people. So let's take care of that before we get started on any of the measurements at work. Number one, of course, was already shouted out. That's to Bill over at Guitar Pit of Horrors for sending me the 57 Classic bridge pickup, which is going to live here. And then our friend Roy Gaber graciously sent me a tradbucker for the neck. So just looking at that, I think that's going to look pretty cool. And these are both very nice pickups. They're going to pair very well, I think, and give me a pretty classic sounding LP style guitar. So that's great. The rest of the parts, well, I need to measure first and hopefully only buy once, unlike some of my previous projects. And I'm going to do that on camera here as well. The other part, I just need, budget is a little bit of a constraint right now. So this is probably going to be the first part of the project, and then we'll get back to parts 2, 3, 4, however many it takes, as I obtain the parts and start putting this beast together. But we'll also get some of my questions for the gang out of the way. That gets to the other shout outs. So not just all of you watching, but specifically the pit crew, which consists of Ted at Ted Talks Guitars and Life, Brant at Tone Yeager, J-Man at J-Man's Gear Cave, Chris, BCG 5150 Guitars, John at Smoke Eater Guitars, and of course Casey at String Pickers. You guys are all great. I really value your opinions. So some of the questions I come with along the way, If you provide any advice at all, I will be forever grateful. So before we get to measurements, one big question I had, this was not listed as having a twisted neck. It was as is, no nut. I saw others in their sections that were also available for the coupons that I used that said luthier special or said twisted neck. And that was something that I don't think I'm equipped to handle just yet. So I wanted to avoid that. But I do not think this has a twisted neck. It does indeed have a truss rod that works because I did straighten the neck out. So it's dead flat now. And I did, you can see I'm moving across the fretboard because I believe it was Ted that I saw was able to diagnose a twisted neck because it wouldn't have been straight all the way across. So I think I'm in good shape there. If anybody has any ideas how I could just double verify that that's not a twisted neck before I go completely whole hog and try and set this up and find out that I've got setup problems that I can't overcome. If that ends up being the case, I still think $50-ish for something to practice my trade on without messing up an actual guitar that I want to play would still be worth it. As I looked down the neck, part of why I originally thought this was twisted, the neck is dead straight. The nut slot is dead straight. I did set something in there and it lines up perfectly with the neck. The headstock, I don't know if this was an intentional choice, and I don't know if you can see it on camera, but number one, it's a little bit of an there we go. It's a little bit of an offset to the headstock, so it's kind of got that odd shape, or as TR said, it's a Gumby headstock. And the holes don't match up side to side. That's fine. But as I looked at it, it also seems to be offset so that this side sits just a little bit higher than that side. And I'm hoping that's not going to present any problems for me down the road. I don't think so long as it goes through the nut straight and then that the tuners fit in there fine. I don't think I'm going to have any problem. The other issue that I see on the headstock, I'm hoping that shows up on the camera. Let me get you in shot here. Yeah, it is. That little rounded part there. I don't know what that is. If it's just, if there was a knot in the wood or what. It's hard. It's not a bubble in the paint or anything. And it's pretty close to this tuner hole. So when I get tuners, I am going to have to pop them in and see if this one causes me any issues. So if I do have to flatten that out, I'm probably going to find myself some metallic racing green paint, because it does have the metallic in it. I don't know if you can see that on camera either. I'm hoping it a little bit better with the top that I cleaned up a little bit does. There is also this section which is shinier than the rest, so I think that something was sitting on this while it was being stored and the rest was exposed. I don't care if it ends up looking perfect, but if anybody has any recommendations for things that I could use to try and polish that up, I did take the spray way to it, and I don't currently have any finish cleaner right now, but any suggestions on what I could do? Do I gently wet sand this to try and even things out? I don't really want to take the shine off of the surface too much, but I also would like to try and make it look as even as possible. All right, that gets down to some of the neck and finish questions. The pockets for everything else look to be pretty good. It doesn't have any back plates or the plastics, so I'm going to start measuring all the holes and taking some of these measurements down. So what I've got, my caliper here, I'm going to take the one where I can measure inside the tuner holes. Coming in at 8.9, so most of the tuners I'm going to get are probably going to be 10 millimeter, expecting that I'm going to have to ream those out. And that's fine. I can also try and source smaller tuners, but that's kind of an odd measurement. They all 8.4. Like I said, I don't know where this guitar originally came from. If it was part of a kit, ChatGPT and a bunch of other sites looking at the fret markers said it doesn't appear to be any known brand, or at least a larger brand that they could compare with photos. I would swear I've seen this kind of smiley face thing, but I'm wondering if it's part of a kit that got put together or was put together. Yeah, these are all slightly different. 8 to 8.9, I think was the largest one over here. Yeah, 8.9. So I have a feeling I'm going to be better off getting 10 millimeter tuners and just reaming those out so that they all match. So let me write that down. 8 to 8.9. The switch hole, I don't know if that's going to matter too much for the size, but I'm definitely going to be checking things as I look up parts to buy. That's coming in at 11 millimeters. Let's see if I can get in. Oh, let me bring you back over here. Look at the body a little better. So for the electrics, for the volume and tone knobs, getting about 6.3, 5.7. So yeah, these are not at all the same. 6.5, 6.2. So I'm just going to say that they max out at 6.5. And I'll start comparing parts and seeing where things do before I start doing any filling and drilling. The bridge holes for the posts, 11.2 seems a little wide. 11.3, at least those are relatively within the thing. We'll call it 11, 11.2, 11.3. Let's see what else. The diameter. I'm assuming that I want to measure from the center of these holes to see how wide that bridge is going to be. Excuse my hat being in the way. I just need to make sure I've got roughly the center here. 71.3. I'm going to write that down, and I think that's probably off by point something or other, but if I get right in that ballpark for the bridge width, I think I'll be fine. Let's check the stop bar. 11.2, 11.4. So those are in that same range too. I'll have to check what comes with things, and worst case scenario, I guess I get some dowels, fill those in, and drill it out for the posts and put them back in. I am going to be getting some paint, like I said. Now let's measure. Excuse my hat getting in the way again. And I'm wearing the hat because I'm trying something a little different with my mic, a la Casey wearing the hat. 78.4. And like I said, this is not exactly accurate. And if anybody has any means to tell me exactly how I should be measuring these before I buy parts, I would appreciate it. This is going to post up tomorrow. This is the day before. Like I said, I generally do my videos within 24 to 48 hours before I post them because I just don't have a lot of time. So next, I'm going to try and measure the nut width. I suspect that this should be a 43 millimeter nut. Or 42. I'm trying to get right inside the edge. Yeah, I think it's going to be a 42 millimeter nut. Worst case scenario, do you think it's worth buying a 43 millimeter nut and sanding the sides down to make it fit? That would be another question. So we're going to go 42 millimeters wide. I think I can get a good measurement of how wide the nut slot is. 5.3 millimeters. Let's make sure that's the same all the way across because there could be a little bit of schmutz in there. 5.3, 5.4, we're right in there. So I'll compare that to nuts when I'm shopping. And then finally, I'm going to try and measure about how tall that would need to be because just to the bridge is 5.3. Yeah, I think I'm going to be like a lot of the LPs that I've been looking at. I'm thinking I'm going to be 1 9 millimeter tall nut because that can always be sanded down. Unlike the adjustable nut that I bought, which was too shallow on my LP Junior. Adding height to those is a little rough because there's not a whole lot of room on that back lip to shim stuff up, and it was also too narrow. So I think I've got everything set for the parts list. So last thing to do then, I I'm not even going to rock the frets right now because I'm going to wait till I hear back about whether the twisted neck, I'm just going to clean these up and see if they're even worth saving. So we have the lizard spit here. I'm just going to take one of these out and run it up and down the fretboard while I still keep talking to you guys. So just to put a timestamp on everything that's going on this week with me, this has been my on-call week. I am on call right now, so if you all of a sudden hear a beeping noise and there's a cut in the video, that's why. Hopefully it just leaves me alone. It's been a rough week for that. Other than that, not too much going on. Next week next week Saturday, I don't know, I might have something cool to do. It all depends on our situation. I live near Waukesha. They are doing a Guitar Town festival, music festival, in Waukesha, honoring Les Paul. Gibson is sponsoring a bunch of stuff down there, and I plan on going. They have a really decent music lineup. I did post a link to that festival on my channel Facebook page, but I'll add it to the description of this video too if you guys want to check it out. Even just to look at it, it sounds like it's going to be a good time. A lot of a very varied selection of musical artists that are going to be there. So I'm kind of looking forward to that if we can make it. And Gibson's doing a giveaway of a Black Beauty replica too, valued at about $4,000. So that would be worth entering, but you do have to be present to win. Sorry for anybody not in Wisconsin or nearby. Be a good time to come see Wisconsin. That's going to be on June 13th, FYI. But like I said, I'll have the link down there. And there's, oh, I'm just noticing one thing too. This is kind of weird. The rest of these are pretty plain white inlays, but on this last one, the cut inside is more iridescent, almost like abalone, which not quite as dark as abalone, but it's more pearlescent than the others. That's interesting. Yeah. Oh, these are awful. I think I'm going to have to get some metal polish and get a little more aggressive. It does not feel like there's dents in here, but it certainly feels like there is years worth of gunk on these frets. All right, let's keep going on this. What else is going on today to put a timestamp on thing? Bill at Guitar Pit of Horrors, the donor of that first pickup, is going to be going live at 9 p.m. Central tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern. That means nothing to you because you guys are not seeing this till tomorrow. But I always like to push everybody's channels as much as I can because they've all been fantastic to me. I would not have 215 subscribers sitting here without the help of everybody in this community just encouraging me, shouting me out in their own channels. So I like to give back in that way as much as I can. We also have Jeremy tomorrow morning, every Sunday. Jeremy at Strings and Pucks does his Sunday morning live streams, all worship music. He does a Friday afternoon stream every Friday, and that's more just general music, pop hits, everything else, a lot of his favorite music, and it's just they're all really good hangouts. I encourage everybody to go check out his channel as well. Who else we got? Well, since we're almost to the end of the frets, let's talk TheUbie, another one who does just excellent lives. Currently looking at Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday evenings at various times. You can go check out his channel. I will probably throw a link into him as well. Why not? Because let's see what we can do to get some visibility for everybody else. So as I'm cleaning these frets off, that was one other thing I wanted to talk about for that stuff that feels almost like varnish. If I can't get anything to de-gunk that, like I don't know if it's an actual glue from the masking tape, which it's just weird that they used masking tape and not painter's tape too. Would I want to take like some pretty high grit sandpaper or even lower grit? You guys that have done this sort of thing before can tell me to try and just smooth out those sections, because yeah, right now you can almost catch a fingernail on some of the gunk that's on there. But I will probably off camera do some more cleaning on the body, just get all the general gunk off of it again so that the next time we come back to this, it should be clean. And yeah, I got a little bit of, well, there's a little bit of green paint on the binding there. I will have to maybe gently try and sand that off because this binding is nice. It's aged looking and I'd like to keep that. There's a couple spots along the fretboard where it's just a little bit high and I don't know how to address that either. If that's sanding or just gently taking a razor blade to try and get it so you're not hitting it. The frets are very sharp, so when it comes time to finally get everything put together, I probably am going to have to file the fret ends a little bit, and we'll find out if we have to level and crown. These are not gigantic frets, but they are not the lowest frets at all that I've ever seen. So that's where we are with the guitar, guys. I just hope that everybody can give me some advice on these questions. If I don't get answers via the video, I will probably reach out to members of the pit crew and ask individually about each issue as I come to it, just so that I don't waste a lot of time setting up a guitar to find out that it's not going to be playable. The only good thing is, once I do cobble together the parts for this, at the very least, I will have all the parts to build my LP that I want to build, even if I have to do it on a different neck and body. If the body's good, maybe somebody can tell me how hard is it to remove a set neck. Everything I've looked seems like it's a fair amount of work and requires equipment that I probably don't have, but I'll leave that, guys, up to you. So the next time we talk to each other, I am probably going to be working on my bass kit, because that is something that I do have all the parts for except for one can of stain for the back and neck, but that's going to be pretty affordable. The rest of this, I'm going to be depending on advice for parts and doing it one piece at a time, but it's not car parts and it will cost me a dime. So, oh well. Let me just back up here. And I just want to thank everybody for coming along on these with me, for all the advice. And if anybody has any ideas about any of the problems that I mentioned with this guitar, I am all ears and I always appreciate any advice. If anybody learns anything from anything I'm doing, even better. So thank you all, and until next time.